The CCP's finances are in crisis, and public hospitals in many places have stopped paying salaries, with some even closing down. According to data released by the National Health Commission of the Communist Party of China, 43.5% of public medical institutions across the country suffered losses in 2022, with losses exceeding 1 trillion yuan, which is equivalent to an average loss of nearly 3 billion yuan per day for 365 days. Today, we are going to discuss the topic of unpaid and bankrupt Chinese hospitals. Video footage shows hospital employees collectively holding up banners that read, "Please give 400 employees a chance," and "Please give Xi'an Hospital a chance to reorganize." Dr. Zhou Hongsheng said, "There are more than 700 people in our hospital, and 601 of them are now unemployed. The salary plus Social Security exceeds 45 million. We are currently facing a situation where we cannot continue operating the hospital. It's not that we don't want to admit patients, but because our medicines are almost exhausted, we can't treat patients even if we admit them. All employees have not received wages for 8 months. I can only fast from today to reduce my guilt for the unpaid employees." Recently, it was reported online that the affiliated hospital of Xi'an College Medical College in Meizhou City, Guangdong Province, went bankrupt and had not paid salaries for 10 months. On October 24th, an employee of the hospital revealed that the hospital held a meeting 2 days ago and suddenly notified the employees to resign. On Tuesday, the 22nd, we held a meeting and were asked to disband. "Whether we have staff or not, we can't go to work," the employee said helplessly. "We were not notified beforehand, and we haven't received much salary this year." According to public information, the affiliated hospital of Xi'an College Medical College was founded in 2009. It is a public comprehensive secondary hospital directly under the Meizhou municipal government and an affiliated hospital of Xi'an College. The hospital covers an area of about 12,000 square meters, with a total construction area of about 31,000 square meters and 400 beds. According to the hospital's profile released in July 2023, it had about 240 employees at that time, including 58 with senior titles. He said in the video, "Oh my God, I saw news today that a certain affiliated hospital in Meizhou went bankrupt without paying salaries. What happened? I always thought that hospitals were a very stable place, but you certainly didn't expect that public hospitals could go bankrupt. I heard that salaries had not been paid since January. This time, more than 100 employees are facing unemployment. Yesterday, my friend complained to me that both he and his wife had their salaries cut while working in the hospital, and today I saw the news of the hospital's closure. I used to think that doctors and nurses were the most popular professions. I was really shocked. I don't know what those doctors and nurses facing unemployment should do next, and what profession is the most stable now." Prior to this, several general hospitals had filed for bankruptcy. In August this year, Huayuan Jingtu Hospital in Anhui Province filed for bankruptcy. Its predecessor was Huayuan County No. 2 People's Hospital. In May last year, Changxing No. 2 hospitals in Zhejiang Province filed for bankruptcy. In June 2021, Xi'an No. 4 People's Hospital in Sichuan went bankrupt due to debt. China's public hospitals are increasingly losing money. Official figures show that in 2020, 43.5% of China's 2,508 tertiary public hospitals suffered losses, with an asset-liability ratio of 44.09%. Additionally, due to the COVID-19 pandemic, local finances have seriously deteriorated. Therefore, public hospitals that mainly rely on fiscal subsidies have frequently reported salary cuts and reductions. In the video, he said, "How are doctors and nurses earning now? To describe it in one word, it is miserable. To describe it with a classic allegorical saying, it is like the old lady's new year getting worse every year. Because my wife and I both work in the hospital, I will talk about the changes in our 2 units. Let's discuss the changes this year. My wife's unit implemented a 30% salary cut at the beginning of this year. In fact, the reduction is quite substantial. Then, at the roundtable meeting last month, the leader directly stated that the year-end bonus will be canceled this year. Of course, I don't know whether this is true or not. If the year-end bonus is canceled, many people will definitely leave. Our unit is relatively better. It started cutting salaries by 20% last month and did not mention the year-end bonus. If the year-end bonus is really canceled, many people may really leave. This is the current situation of our 2 units. My current income level can no longer cover the mortgage. To put it bluntly, I still need to ask my wife for money every month to pay off the mortgage. This is the income status of an ordinary doctor in my area. Of course, I am not a leader, just an ordinary doctor in the department. This doctor works in the emergency department, and he said that their hospital has also cut salaries. He said in the video, "Brothers, I'm off the night shift, and I haven't updated the video for a few days. I encountered some strange things you may not believe. Everyone knows that I work in the emergency department. The purpose of working in the emergency department was that although it is very tiring, the treatment in the emergency department is good, and the promotion is relatively faster than in other clinical departments. You can also receive the special department allowance. Oh, I am so tired. You don't know how hard it is to work 3 night shifts in 8 days. Even someone like me, who is over 30 years old, can only rest on the last day before returning to work. But now I have encountered a particularly distressing thing. The hospital has reduced salaries. How much has it been reduced? The emergency department's salary has been reduced significantly. What's more frustrating is that it is not as high as the salary level of other departments. My daughter is going to kindergarten these days, and she has to pay 2,100 yuan for 4 weeks. 2,100 yuan may be acceptable for the sake of the child, right? But after this salary reduction, my monthly salary is 2,100 yuan. I was thinking about this clinical department. They don't like the emergency department because they are always asked to consult and receive patients in the middle of the night. But Xi'an first opens the emergency department. How frustrating this emergency department is. I am now doubting myself. Did I choose the wrong department? Did I choose the wrong industry? I am working the night shift with my life on the line. Am I wrong? Some doctors have to set up stalls to sell barbecue at night to increase their income. He said in the video, "Village doctors are not doing their jobs and have started to set up stalls to sell barbecue at night." Today, I saw a news report that a village doctor named Zhang in Masu has started to set up a stall to sell barbecue at night. Dr. Zhang's stall is located on a busy road in the local town. It has been a year since then. Although the area is not large, Dr. Zhang manages it properly. The price is affordable, and the taste is good. So there is an endless stream of people eating. As for being a doctor during the day and setting up a stall to sell barbecue at night, Dr. Zhang said helplessly that now the health center does not allow injections and infusions, there is a shortage of doctors and medicines, there are few patients, and the income is also low. Dr. Zhang said that although it is a bit hard to set up a stall every night, he can still earn some money and increase his income. Recently, many public hospitals in mainland China have reported that medical staff collectively demanded their wages. On October 16th, hundreds of medical staff from a state-owned hospital in Shanwei City, Guangdong Province, went on strike and gathered in the hospital lobby. The collective strike erupted due to the uneven distribution of bonuses. Online videos show that they held up white papers with "I want to eat" written on them and shouted slogans such as "Director, come out and give me back my bonus," and "I want to live." According to the person who filmed it, the protest was suspected to be due to only 3 departments receiving the August bonus in October, while other departments did not receive it. The unfair treatment caused dissatisfaction among medical staff. Public information shows that Shanwei People's Hospital is a non-profit large public general hospital with more than 600 beds and over 900 employees. It is a Grade 3 hospital. Many netizens said, "Where did the hospital go after extorting so much money from patients?" It's not an isolated case. There have been many such cases in the past 2 years. You can search online. Many have already taken out loans to pay wages, and they will almost go bankrupt when the loan quota is used up. Some people suggest going to private hospitals for medical treatment, but some netizens said, except for large private hospitals that offer better treatment, ordinary private hospitals are also like this. The private hospital where my classmate works has also delayed wages and cut off insurance. One netizen posted, "I am quite puzzled. There are so many patients coming in and out of the hospital every day. The money spent is not a small amount. There is also Social Security. People pay so much money every month. Why can't the hospital pay? Where does all the money go?" China. Is a financial tsunami coming? Over 50 banks and thousands of branches closed. China's economy is in a serious recession, with waves of collapse, bankruptcy, and unemployment spreading to the banking sector. Since the beginning of this year, more than 50 banks in China have gone bankrupt, and nearly 1,500 bank branches across the country have closed. Economists and analysts warn that a financial tsunami in China may be imminent, and more bank failures and collapses are inevitable in the near future. According to the latest data released by the State Administration of Financial Supervision of the Communist Party of China, at least 50 small and medium-sized banks have been dissolved this year, the vast majority of which are rural small and medium-sized banks. At the same time, the wave of mergers and reorganizations of small and medium-sized banks has accelerated. For instance, Liaoning Rural Commercial Bank absorbed and merged 36 rural small and medium-sized banks, while Shenyang Rural Commercial Bank merged with 30 rural credit cooperatives. Experts believe that China's economy is in severe recession, and bank bankruptcies, mergers, and reorganizations are the general trend. Xi'an, a professor at the University of South Carolina, said, "It is quite serious that so many banks are closing at the same time. The reason is obviously that the entire Chinese economy is in a severe recession, and even the financing activities and financial activities of real enterprises are declining, resulting in decreased bank profits, bad debts, abnormal capital flows, or shortages of funds, and significant losses." Experts predict that more small and medium-sized banks may fail and close down in the future. Xi'an also stated, "Because we see that China's original troika of driving forces for economic development, or the current so-called new productivity to promote economic driving forces, seems difficult to effectively stimulate the economy, China's economic recession may continue. Over time, more banks may face the same risk of failure." According to incomplete statistics from the State Administration of Financial Supervision of the Communist Party of China, as of July 25th, nearly 1,500 bank branches have been closed, including major state-owned banks, city commercial banks, and rural commercial banks. In 2023 and 2022, 2,756 and 2,383 Chinese commercial bank branches were closed, respectively. Analysis points out that behind the wave of bank failures is usually an impending financial tsunami. Taiwanese economist Huang Shichong said, "If the country's banks cannot operate, it also means that the country's economy has very big problems, including a sluggish banking industry, a sluggish real estate industry, sluggish corporate loans, and sluggish private consumption." Similar financial turmoil has occurred in Europe, the United States, and Taiwan. They have allowed it to collapse and then merged to quickly heal the wounds and stop the bleeding. However, the CCP's strategy is to wait for changes, so there may be more Chinese bank collapses in the future. China's economy in a deeper quagmire than Japan's in the 1990s. The latest data shows that China's economy is still in a deep quagmire, with various stimulus policies from Zhongnanhai failing, and the country officially entering a balance sheet recession. Lu Ting, chief economist at Nomura Securities, commented that the environment facing China will be more difficult than that of Japan in the 1990s. According to Chinese statistics, in the second quarter, foreign direct investment, FDI liabilities, decreased by nearly $15 billion. This is the second time this figure has turned negative. The previous instance was during the Asian financial crisis in 1997, and the outflow amount was also higher than the $12.1 billion recorded in the third quarter of last year. Assessing the turning point, in early 2022, when the CCP locked down Shanghai, foreign direct investment began to decline sharply and has not recovered since. The sharp decline in new loans shows that the vast majority of Chinese companies have become flat, unwilling or afraid to borrow to invest. The Social Financing Scale report released by the People's Bank of China last week showed that new loans were 260 billion yuan in July, down nearly 88% from the previous month, and far below the 450 billion yuan expected by analysts polled by Reuters. This is only about 1/10 of normal months, and the decline can be described as dramatic. Moreover, the People's Bank of China released cumulative data from January to July this time. Many data points do not include separate monthly figures for July and need to be calculated separately. According to Reuters calculations, household loans, mainly home mortgages, fell sharply by 210 billion yuan in July, while rising by 570.9 billion yuan in June. Corporate loans fell directly to 130 billion yuan from 1.63 trillion yuan in June. The official explanation given by the CCP is to squeeze out water, meaning the difference is caused by statistical magnitude. However, looking at the direct M1 of individuals and enterprises, the M1 balance fell 6.6% year-on-year, and the growth rate is still negative. At the end of last month, it was down 5% year-on-year. M2 increased by 6.2% year-on-year, which shows that most companies and individuals prefer to convert their current deposits into time deposits or financial management, rather than investment or consumption. This is a typical flat collective. Since July, more companies and individuals have begun to transfer their deposits into financial management and purchasing, greatly increasing the price of government bonds. This will increase China's financial risks because the corresponding government bond interest rates for the central bank, the increase in long-term interest rates, and government bond prices will lead to a decrease in long-term interest rates and the risk of yield inversion. This makes the CCP very concerned. The method calls for a direct ban on rural commercial banks, securities companies, etc., from conducting government bond transactions. However, it is obvious that it is not working well. Total social capital decreased in July, marking a major turning point in the decline of the balance sheet. Last year, Japanese economist Xi'an proposed a theory of balance sheet recession based on Japan's 30 lost years, which has aroused widespread concern in the Chinese government, industry, and academia. He pointed out that the cause of this recession is high debt in the private sector, which often causes individuals or companies to repay debt first to increase savings instead of consumption or investment, which in turn leads to economic growth slowing down or declining, and eventually an economic recession. Since last year, Chinese scholars have generally believed that, unlike Japan, there is no such thing as a balance sheet recession. The first 7 months of this year saw total social financing of 18.87 trillion yuan, a sharp decline of 3.22 trillion yuan compared to the same period last year, down 14.6%. Looking at the month, new RMB loans in July were 260 billion yuan, down 85.9 billion yuan from 345.9 billion yuan in the same period in 2023. This is the first decline since July 2005. So the economic community has once again begun to debate, has the Chinese economy entered the model of Japan's Great Recession in the 1990s?